have a message to some select people around the world. And that message goes to anybody who told me that House of the Dead was a good, bad movie. That message is simply, fuck you. That's it. Fuck you. You're a threat to humanity. I haven't revisited that movie since I saw it day one in theaters with 2 other people, and by the time the movie was over, I was the only one left.
Here's the thing with that. You saw it day one?
I did, in a desolate theater in like the middle of the afternoon.
But why?
Because I was intrigued. Because I didn't know who Uwe Boll was at the time.
Nobody would have, really, because when was this?
2003.
So the internet was like, it existed, but like, it wasn't even remotely the same.
I also wasn't even out of high school yet.
Mm.
Don't ask me how I got into that movie.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Shoot me.
Yeah.
Oh. Hey.
Anyway, hi everybody. Welcome to another After Dark edition of the Phantom Zone, because the TV is still sparse and it's still kind of good. So,
Yeah.
Kind of good. Yeah.
I'm Connor McGraw.
I'm Arlen Harrow.
I am living paint boy, Hunter Davenport.
I'm Eric Fedorchak, and I went shopping for kitchen stuff today.
I'm also Hunter Davenport.
Damn, that's some adult. That's some adult
Wow.
shit right there.
Dude, we got a
shirt.
stick grater.
I'm Connor McGraw.
Damn.
We got some
And I'm Eric
ramekins.
Fedorchak.
I'm somebody who's on the show. I don't know at this point.
I'm
Bad
Chris
news,
Smith.
everyone. This is the whole episode now.
This is
It's
what
just,
happens when you make fun of our voice for too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, serious.
Yes.
I'm never going to drop it.
Anyways, some stuff happened this week.
That's
Yeah.
right. We got some news. It's actually pretty light on the news this week. Actually, it was a real struggle to even find things to put on here.
Thankfully.
So yeah, speed round. This is gonna be real quick. Fargo season 4 is a period piece. No fucking shit.
I
Yeah.
haven't watched Fargo yet.
Watch the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, definitely. And if you like those, watch season 3.
I couldn't get into season 3. My wife and I started watching it, and we were kind of like, it didn't hook us.
No, it's an interesting season. I would definitely go back and give it another try, but I can see it's definitely the least good of the 3. Like,
I'm sure Ewan McGregor's wife would agree with that.
mm-hmm. And you can 100% tell that working on Legion at the same time kind of affected things. Like, it's just obvious. It's very obvious that there was divided effort there. Which is why I'm glad he's spacing them out a little bit. But I would definitely go back and give it a shot, because it's still better than most television, I would say. And Connor, if you haven't seen it, I'll say it again. It's the same guy as Legion. It's just like it's got a Fargo skin over it, almost.
Wait. David Haller is in Fargo?
No, it's the same producer as Legion.
Oh,
Damn it, Hunter.
Yeah, the first season is really good. Like, it's great, but I think the second one is actually stronger. Like, my wife and I were blown away by the second season of it. It's so good.
The amount of TV people have been telling me to watch the past few months is getting to be a bit staggering.
Yeah, well, this is just 10 episodes. And again, you don't have to watch all of them.
Oh, it's like 10?
Yeah, it's 10 episodes, and it's a period piece. And each season is disconnected from the previous season.
The second one, not really.
Well, no,
the second one.
You could watch the second one, though, on its own.
Yeah, you could.
Easily.
You could.
Easily. You could watch the second one on its own.
You'll get more out of it if you watch the first season.
It's one of those things where, like, not necessarily a spoiler, but, like, characters from the first season show up in the third season, but you don't need to watch the first season at all.
Okay.
Like, so it's the same world, but every season jumps around in time. So, like, third season is, like, 2010. Season 1 is 2005. 1979 to 80 is season 2. So the fact that they said season 4 will be a period piece is kind of a joke and a non-headline.
Is water wet?
Yeah.
The duh around the world?
Yeah, yes. It's like, who would have seen that coming? Because I think what it allows them to do is to have separation in terms of, like, how things feel. Like, texting wasn't a thing in 2010 really quite as much. Facebook wasn't what it is now. social media. I think the Xbox 360 was the main system, so there's a character who wants a 360. So things like that.
Insane.
Yeah. So that's the story. Season 4 is getting a new season, and it's gonna be a period piece. Who would have guessed?
So you're telling me season 4 is going to have the UFO storyline continued from season 2?
Maybe it might continue plot lines from all 3 seasons because I mean, Eric, I know you didn't get how far into season 3 would you say you got?
I think like maybe 3 episodes.
So there are things in season 3 that call back to Malvo stuff from season 1.
Oh, okay.
Specifically, Malvo being kind of maybe not of this world.
What the fuck?
Interesting.
Because there's definitely callbacks.
Okay.
Like it, yeah, and there's also there's definitely a reference to Malvo throughout the season. Yeah. It's a weird mythology. Like everything references what happened before, and every season has something a little bit kind of Twin Peaksy going on in the background that you're.
You said the magic words.
Yeah.
It's Twin Peaks, but like if you turn the volume down a little bit. So that's my sell for Fargo, but we can go on to the main story, which is I feel like it's pretty obvious what the main story is. The Deadpool 2 trailer.
Yeah,
Chris Evans is going to be done with Avengers after Avengers 4. Oh, wait, everybody knew that.
Yeah.
Why was that a headline?
Also, that's not...
I
don't believe it for a second. I don't believe for a second that he will not be in Avengers movies again, which is what that headline is supposed to insinuate. He'll be in Avengers 5 or 6 or 7 down the line. He might not be in, every movie in a row. Something that was pointed out to me was watching a movie news show earlier. Chris Evans has been in every Marvel movie since 2011. Every single one.
Shit.
He's been in every single one, either as a cameo or as a main character.
Oh my god, he was in Thor 2 as a cameo.
Yeah.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but he had been saying he was done after Captain America Winter Soldier, correct?
As it was coming out. It was coming out, and he was saying, once my contract is up, I'm done.
See, I thought he renewed his contract after Guardians did super well. I thought that was around the same time.
I think he's trolling us.
I think they all are. It's that or Disney has the magic touch when it comes to negotiations.
Magic touch meaning a truck full of money?
Yeah, exactly. The ones that keep driving up to Robert Downey Jr.'s house every time he's like, I'm done being Iron Man. And they're like, here's so much money. And he's like, I'll be Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
he's like, yeah, sure, whatever, man. It's cool.
Where's the new suit?
Fuck it.
Well, before Civil War, or not before Winter Soldier opened, like I said, he said he was going to retire. And then right before Civil War came out, he said, I will play Captain America anytime they want me to. Which, those are two completely contradictory statements.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't believe it.
Hemsworth said the same thing about Thor after Ragnarok came back. He was like, after that experience, I'll do this over and over again.
Yeah. And he said that he wanted to make a trilogy in the Ragnarok timeline, which is something that I'm into. He said he wanted to make a movie called Thor Ragnarok 2. He wanted it to be a sequel to Ragnarok, but not a sequel to the rest of the MCU.
Here comes the Lord of the Rings 2.
Yes. The Two Towers 2.
Tower harder.
But yeah.
Anyway, that's not really a story.
No.
The other one
why
I
left it off.
The Deadpool 2 trailer. I love this trailer.
It's a fucking great trailer.
It really is. I laughed really hard at that fucking X-Force joke.
It's so good. It's so good.
I wasn't even a huge fan of the original Deadpool. Not because I thought it was a bad movie. It wasn't for me.
Oh, we've been over this. Its crassness and sense of humor is not for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not even that. It wasn't the Deadpool I enjoy. Let me put it. I guess I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
I'm actually interested in this movie. Everything I'm seeing, it looks like it could be a ton of fun.
Yeah. And
so who is this child supposed to be?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I don't think he's anything.
Well, because news stories have come out about who he's supposed to be, but I don't care. I'd rather find out in the movie.
Well, who did they say he's supposed to be?
That's the thing. I didn't even click on it. I was like,
oh, okay.
Like, there's a headline like, who this kid is supposed to be, and it's like, I don't care. It's a movie. I want some mystery. It's like
don't Jurassic World us and just give us all the money shots.
Yeah.
It's a young En Sabanur.
Oh God.
Oh no.
No.
Fucking cycle.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm not gonna reveal it, but okay. All right.
Damn it, Hunter.
That's I'm gonna look this up when we're done. God damn it.
I know.
But yeah,
Well,
no, it's like
it's kind of a deep X-Men lore thing.
Okay.
So like, okay. Can do
all
it.
right. Interesting. Well, here's the thing: the En Sabah Nor thing would make sense actually. Like logically, that makes sense.
I will say it's not far off. That's awesome.
So it's one of the Horsemen. Probably. That's what you're telling me. It's one of the Horsemen. Nope. Oh, okay. Well, darn. But no, like I've said it before. Like I thought Deadpool was funny. Like it was better than it had any right to be. But I wasn't like in love with that movie. Although I do love.
I'll freely admit that before Deadpool came out, I was like, it's coming out in February, so that means A, it's gonna bomb. 2, it's gonna suck.
Yep.
Because February is where movies go to die.
Yep.
Not anymore though.
Mm.
And there was some of you might have run across him in Pixels. It was that guy Marvin who kept having these like very bizarre takes.
Yeah.
He was like, Deadpool's gonna make $80 million opening weekend. I was like, you're fucked in the head. I was like, that's not happening. And then it did, and I was like, holy shit, that was the only thing he's ever been right about.
He's a time traveler.
He is.
Yeah.
Except being a time traveler will not change the fact that he said the Fantastic Four reboot was better than Fury Road. So.
What?
Hey.
What?
Yep.
He's from an alternate timeline. Alternate timeline.
Anyways, no, Deadpool 2. I'm excited about Deadpool 2 now. Like the trailers have been, they've been what I expected from Deadpool trailers, in that they're funny, and Deadpool's marketing is objectively better than the first movie.
I really like how they haven't shown all the X-Force too.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
that's really nice.
I just can't believe they came out and said, yeah, this is the X-Force, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like backdoor pilot for the X-Force movie.
I fucking love that joke too. We call ourselves the X-Force. Don't you think it's a little derivative? Precise.
So good.
The fact that when you see them in the back of whatever that is, the A-130 or whatever the plane is, like, you can see Shatterstar behind them, and they haven't done a full reveal of him yet, and I can't wait for the stupidity of his costume.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
And I wonder if I keep on thinking that they're gonna do a what was the SNL parody of that one character that got a full movie? What was it? With the mullet. MacGruber. I wonder if they're gonna pull a MacGruber, and they're gonna kill most of the X-Force.
Oh my god! Like 2 minutes after their arrival.
Yep.
They can't do that because Terry Crews finally gets to be a superhero.
Well, no, so Terry Crews and Domino and Yoko and Negasonic will live, but I assume the X-Force is much bigger because you see a lot of guys behind Deadpool.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if he brings 5 other extra characters and they all die immediately.
Some of them are definitely dying.
Oh, that would be so great.
There's some X-Men shenanigans going on in the trailer that are blink and you'll miss it stuff. Like, I really need to see Wade Wilson spinning around in fucking Xavier's wheelchair.
Yes.
It's so good.
Yes.
And him grabbing
Colossus' ass.
So good. So good. Oh yeah. No, the trailer's great. I'm in. I'm
I like
all
how
the way
Deadpool has basically absconded with the goodwill from the X-Men movies.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
He's like, these are mine now.
I mean,
Yeah, this is gonna be a good birthday. Very good birthday.
Well,
Deadpool seems to be the only like real X-Men movies, anyways. Besides Wolverine.
It's everybody who's handled the X-Men, and I'm even gonna say Bryan Singer's first 2 X-Men movies. They've gone too goddamn serious with them.
Yeah,
like there is an inherent goofiness in the X-Men, and I don't mean that in like a horror way. It's just kind of goofy, the entire premise.
Weird and just like out there, and no one ever addresses it. Like,
well, they're also inconsistent as all hell.
Well,
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you have two good ones, you have one bad one, then you have a good one, then you have one I like, but some people don't like, and then you have Apocalypse, which I don't really know how anybody feels about that movie. Yeah. I know we hate it, but
did you forget Wolverine Origins and the Wolverine?
I did. One, I refuse to acknowledge the Wolverine X-Men Origins' existence.
Well, except for the first 12 minutes. The first 12 minutes, I will.
Yeah.
I will give.
That
pass.
opening credits crawl could be a movie in itself.
Yeah.
I want to see fucking Logan and Sabretooth running through the time periods of different wars. But I love the Wolverine.
Yeah, the Wolverine's great. It's even better now.
It's actually not bad.
It's better after Logan. Like it's a perfect companion piece. Yeah, and
it's a good build up.
Yeah, and it's also we talked about this before. It's crazy what they set up. It's crazy that they set that up, or that they even fell into that. That they felt like that line where she says, "You're holding your heart in your hand," and then that comes true in the next movie, and it's just insane.
I forgot they used that movie to set up Days of Futures Past.
They did. That was another thing.
I love at the end, Professor Xavier and Magneto show up, and they're like, "Hello, plot holes."
Yeah, because we learned something from the Avengers. That's right. We aren't faking till we make it, or at all.
I like how Wolverine's like, "How's this possible? You're dead," and Xavier's like, "LOL, not gonna tell you."
Yeah.
404 not found.
I know you don't remember the ending of Last Stand, but there was a post-credit scene.
It was odd. It was almost like some creepy rapist was telling us what to do during that movie.
Oh my. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter who you're talking about, because
that's true.
It doesn't matter.
God damn it. Except for James Mangold.
Except for Lauren Schuler Donner, the person I already dislike. So it's a real who's who of people that I don't like. So.
God damn it!
Everybody needs to wear leather.
They all need to be wearing leather. Like
leather.
I'm gonna fight with Kingsman director about them wearing yellow, and almost getting kicked off the movie. That's the thing that happened. Yeah, the reason that he didn't come back for Days of Future Past is because him and Lauren Schuler Donner went 10 rounds over the uniforms and a bunch of other stuff on First Class.
How would you, in a post-Avengers world, where they got away with Captain America's hokey-ass outfit, how in that kind of world do you think that, fucking washed-out dark outfits are still kind of a thing?
To be fair, First Class came out in 2011, I think.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. But no, if it had been made, in 2013, it's a different story. She has to let him do, not even just yellow outfits, the bright red outfits and, all the different crazy stuff. And
the ironic thing about that is, that is my favorite X-Men outfit, are those suits.
Those are the best ones.
The flight suits, essentially. Yeah.
I love those costumes, too.
Is Donner the one who has written with, the director of X-Men First Class? Is she his writing partner, the one who's always worked with them?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. She's an executive at Fox, isn't she?
Oh, okay.
She's a producer on all the X-Men movies.
Okay. I'm thinking of the woman that helped write Kick-Ass with him.
She's responsible for the whole the X-Men wearing black leather.
Yes, yes, that was her. That was her idea, and she's part of the Donner company, and
she reminds me of there's a USA executive named Bonnie Hammer who, for a long time, insisted that everybody in wrestling dress like the McMahons and everybody had to wear a suit.
This is the same woman who canceled Battlestar. For anybody who's
wondering.
Probably. No, she did. She 100% did. She canceled Battlestar Galactica because Sci-Fi is owned by NBC. She's also one of the people who ran G4 for a while before it became Esquire.
R.I.P.
So you can see a career of terrible, terrible, terrible decisions.
A career of destruction.
Clearly. But yeah, no, Lauren Schuler Donner, she only was able to get away with that because her husband's Richard Donner. That's the only reason that happened.
Oh, I didn't even make that connection. I thought they must have not have been related.
No, it's the same company. It's the same production studio. And
oh God.
Yeah.
She might be a cannibal too.
Maybe, possibly. But no, like she's responsible for a lot of bad decisions.
That.
Yeah, I can't. No one can.
Just quick side note: it was Jane Goldman is who I was thinking of, the one who's worked with Matthew Vaughn on a lot of his early successes. So yeah,
she's his writing. She is his writing partner, I believe.
Yeah.
And I believe his wife. That might be.
No, they're not. They're not married. No,
okay.
She's married to somebody else.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyways, moving on. Deadpool, it looks good. I'm in. Yeah. More in than I have been in for any X-Men movie since Logan. And that was for completely different reasons. So, yeah, I'm into this. I guess.
Big statement.
Yeah. Any last thoughts, I guess, on this Deadpool thing?
Not much. Just excited.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Cool. So this is a story that's kind of an update because we did talk about this last week. The Men in Black reboot is happening, but they confirmed the co-star for the movie will be Tessa Thompson.
Yes.
So
all right, that is brilliant.
Yeah,
I love that actually.
It's kind of the smartest thing Sony's done in a really long time.
Yeah,
amazing.
It's almost like maybe you should start coming up with like decent creative ideas instead of being like, why don't we cross it over with 21 Jump Street?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I see why somebody stood up in a room and said, hey, isn't this clever? I also don't see how somebody a minute later wasn't like, yeah, no, that's a bad idea.
You're fired.
That's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Because I get it from the 22 Jump Street point of view of, okay, having them join the MIB, that's funny as like a sketch on SNL.
Like a one minute thing.
Right. Like an MTV opening bit. That's where that's funny. That's the kind of place where that would work. For an entire movie, I don't...
No.
No.
Yeah, no.
No. It makes much more sense to say, well, we've already established that the MIB has at least 23 agents. For all we know, like, there's a K1, a K2, a K3, a K4, etc.
A K7 Widowmaker? I'm so sorry.
Oh, no.
Someone had to say it. Somebody had to say it.
No.
Oh, man.
But no, like, there's no reason to say that there couldn't be more than 26 agents. But anyways, they established that there are 26 agents out there. We've spent 3 movies on 2 of the 26 agents. So there's something interesting there in the other people in the MIB. And there are the stories that can be told. And those two together have excellent chemistry. There's an entire 2-hour movie that displays it.
Yeah, there's an entire film that backs up that claim.
Mm-hmm.
That made a shit ton of money.
Yeah. And it made a character who, let's be honest, nobody liked Thor. like I liked Thor in the Avengers movies, and I think Thor 1 is good, but nobody loves Thor the way they love Cap.
No one's super excited about Thor.
No. There were people who were super into Thor 2, but it wasn't because of Thor, it was because of Loki.
Yeah.
And it was because it was right after Avengers.
That's where Jokey Loki was born.
Yeah. Him smiling and stuff, all cackly.
And turning into Captain America.
Like, the first trailer isn't about Thor, it's about Thor going into the room where he's being held. So, yeah, that movie really didn't sell it on Thor necessarily, but this movie sounds interesting to me because Chris Hemsworth, most of what he's done outside of Thor has been things like a favorite of this podcast, Black Hat.
Oh my God, it's the greatest movie of all time. It is.
Oh, well, you missed it when we were discussing Jessica Jones, the second half of season 2, because they bring up a mention of Black Hat at one point, not the movie, just talking about Black Hat hackers. The minute that got mentioned in our discussion, we were like, "Oh yeah, Connor. Hey, Connor, where's Connor?"
Shoving a cupcake into his gullet.
Yes, because he threatened us with leaving the show.
Yeah, I felt like I was being held hostage.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. I never want to go through that again.
I don't know why people got really excited about watching me fucking eat.
It was just weird. It was one of those weird experiences that I've ever had.
I don't think it's the act itself. I think it's more that you have a P.T. Barnum-esque quality about you that you're willing to sell the show, even if it's just like, oh, that wasn't anything, but nobody sold it to us.
I don't know. Joe was like, put it in quotes. He's like, subscribe, like, comment, subscribe for more content. Connor eventually.
God damn it. But
until he drops the N-bomb during a stream.
I know this wasn't your intention, Eric, but now I'm imagining Connor in The Greatest Showman.
Oh man!
If that is not the episode art,
I already made it. God damn it!
I heard that shit tanked too.
Yeah.
So
did not do well.
It tanked, but it's also continuing in theaters because there's a very specific group of fans that have been going like 10 or 12 times.
Oh my god!
To sing along to it. So it's
what is wrong with like musical fans?
I don't understand.
Let it go. Let it go. Just a movie.
Well, okay, so you got to think about it. These are the same people who will go see Rocky Horror Picture Show 3 times in a year.
Oh, so they already have terrible.
You know what? I have a hot take about Rocky Horror. It's bad.
It's very bad. The music isn't even good, which is an essential part of a musical.
Yeah. Like I finally saw it. Like some girl I went on a date with like showed it to me. Like that was the day we watched.
That's always the worst.
Rocky Horror. And like at the end, I think I torpedoed the whole thing because she was like, "What do you think?" I was like, "I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of hype that didn't live up to."
That's the worst when you're going on a date and they're like, "You should watch this," and then you watch it and then it's terrible.
Yeah.
There's nowhere you can go from there.
I like Tim Curry in that movie, and that's about it.
I mean, I think that's the only reason that movie even exists. If it weren't for Tim Curry, I don't think anybody would care about it.
The guy who played Rocky eventually, like, didn't he like fucking leave Hollywood and disappear?
I don't know. Is he also the same guy who played Nuclear Man or whatever? I feel like he is. I don't know.
Maybe.
Wouldn't be surprised. God damn. We've gone down a real rabbit hole. My fault though.
Well, how are any of you besmirching the good name of Meatloaf here? I don't understand it.
I forgot he was in that movie.
Wait, he's in the movie?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. In the original Rocky Horror Picture Show. Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's the boyfriend of that the one woman, I forget what her name is. I've seen that movie once.
The Fox remake launched, what was it, last year, 2 years ago, and everyone was like,
yeah, nobody liked it.
Everybody hated it.
I think I posted this online once. My brother and me, we were gonna go dressed as Rocky Balboa and Drago.
Oh my god, that's tremendous.
We didn't.
That's as good as the people who are dressing up as Coming to America characters going to Black Panther showings.
So good.
Great.
Yes.
That's
so good.
That made me so happy.
Hunter, to elaborate on your point in musicals, one particular musical haunted me for a good number of years because all my wrestling friends love Rent for some reason.
What?
And on every long, like, car trip or road trip or excursion, that soundtrack was played, and all of them knew all the fucking words, and they would sing with the windows down, and I'm sitting in the middle seat in the back, wedged between 2 very large people just being subjected to this hammy-ass music.
Ew.
So wait, like the stage version or the Joel Schumacher movie?
The stage version.
Doesn't Rent involve drug addiction and death from AIDS or other diseases that are uncontrollable at this point?
I mean, that's my understanding.
Does it?
Doesn't that basically reflect wrestling too?
God damn it.
I mean, one could argue.
I just, stay with what you know, so it makes sense.
It's so weird. I worked that show when it was at the local, like, theater house or whatever, and I caught nothing of what the story was or anything. I just saw a sign for Rent, and there were people dressed up as the characters, I guess, which is really weird that I could tell that, but I could. So yeah, and there were people singing along, like, coming out of the actual arena, or not the auditorium, going to the bathroom, still singing along to it. So that was a strange experience.
People have really tried to get me on the musical bandwagon, and there's only a few that I will admit to enjoying. and that's it. Because everything I see is corny, and I don't like the music, and
yeah.
I cannot stand musicals because like it's like I feel like every song I ever hear from them, I'm like, this is just garbage. I don't like this.
Yeah, I love Sweeney Todd. I like Phantom of the Opera, the music. I've never actually seen the play. I saw the Joel Schumacher movie because my ex made me watch that 1,000,000 times too.
Yikes.
Wicked. I thought Wicked was fucking incredible.
The music in that is pretty great.
Yeah, and I was watching it, I think on Broadway in New York, and I was sitting there, and like when the witch is like fucking levitating above the crowd, I was like, "This is a play?"
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool that they ripped that off a couple years later for Frozen, but it was pretty cool.
Little secret history of Eric in high school and a little bit of college. I was involved in theater all through high school.
Of course you were.
Anytime there was a musical, though, I always took a role that didn't have to sing because my voice would turn people to stone. But speaking of musicals that, well, I've never seen, but I've always been interested in Avenue Q because that's
one
the
I've
one
heard
that's
is good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's with the puppets or Muppets, whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard that one's good. It's the same writers who actually did write Frozen and I think Tangled and Coco, and they also wrote Book of Mormon, which is one of my favorite experiences doing anything. It's the only musical that I really enjoy. And Book of Mormon is one of those ones where you could listen to that on its own, I think. I wouldn't recommend that with most musicals, but you can put the pieces together, and it's so great. It's really, really good, and it's the best of South Park is what I would compare it to. Like,
damn, good sell.
Like, it's not South Park because sometimes South Park feels lazy. We all know this, that there are episodes and there are good episodes, and there are bad episodes that feel like, wow, they really was just like throwing shit at the wall and hoping that it stuck.
They refer to them as bank episodes.
Yeah.
It's an idea they came up with during like a writer's summit, because they have one every summer, I think. And it's like basically the idea that it was just good enough to keep, but not good enough to be like, this is a priority episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And you can tell it's very obvious.
Exactly.
Every single time. They can't all be the episode right after the election where there were people, or the Obama election, where there were people refusing to believe that Obama won.
Oh my god.
And trapping themselves in a cave, which is pretty good. Pretty good.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, and there are so many like Al-Qaeda jokes in that episode.
That's one of my big things with South Park is like I haven't watched it in years, and anytime I sit down to watch it, like I definitely laugh, but I think I find more amusement out of people describing the episodes to me.
That's fair.
Well,
that's fair.
I love describing to people that in an episode, Cartman literally shit out plastic gold treasure. That made me double over in laughter.
There's an episode. It's not even an episode. It's a series of episodes that was making fun of Game of Thrones, where everybody was trying to get a Nintendo Wii. I want to say.
I kind of remember that.
I think, and like
Cartman freezes himself.
I think it is. It's the same one where he freezes himself and then he ends up in the future.
Where otters and Scientologists. What is it?
Yes.
Scientologists
it's,
and
frogs and otters. I thought were the
and
two opposing forces.
Yes, and they're not Scientologists. They're atheists, but they're
that's right.
They're extreme atheists.
Yeah.
So they believe in different versions of atheism, and they don't think that the other group is doing atheism correctly.
Jesus Christ.
It's pretty funny. But yeah, like it's the same one where like there's a guy who's clearly Jeor Mormont, and he has like a sticker with a scar on it that he wears over his eye, and when he dies, he gives the sticker to Randy, and Randy becomes the new Lord Commander.
Oh my god.
And the people who are trying to get in the ball are White Walkers.
I still love the wiener song.
It comes from that, yeah. And like
one wiener next to another wiener.
So there's a joke that follows that where Butters and I can't remember who Butters and somebody, they're with George R. R. Martin riding to the mall to like save the day, and they're like on a horse, and they're like, "Why are we on a horse, George R. R. Martin?" And then it cuts to a wide shot, and you see the horse's erect penis, and that's why they're on a horse.
I don't remember that either. But again, I also haven't watched South Park in quite a while.
Yeah. I
Which
watched
is sad
it
because
bit.
I love it still, but I just haven't had the desire to go back and rewatch it.
It's one of those things where I think you come in for like 2 or 3 seasons and then you kind of get bored with it, and then maybe you come back, but maybe you don't.
It was my favorite show for a while. Like years ago, I was
Yeah.
buying the box sets.
Yeah, it was my brother's too, and mine for a little while there.
And those box sets come with commentary minis that are just as funny as the episodes themselves because they're not full length. They're just like 10 minutes because they're both they hate doing commentaries.
Mm-hmm.
And they are funny as shit.
Maybe it reflects poorly on me as a father, but I remember when both of my stepkids were in middle school, like before school, they would watch South Park on Netflix before they went in.
Wow. I was not allowed to watch South Park.
You know, I was raised by very liberal parents, so I figure it might as well make it tenfold worse than they did for me. So yeah.
Fun.
We didn't have South Park, but we did have Family Guy, which is always
Which is
an
like
interesting experience.
third rate South Park.
Well, it's also interesting in my family how there were people who hated Family Guy, just despised it, but who liked South Park, and vice versa. And their arguments for why one was worse than the other, it always seems silly to me because it's like South Park is more adult than Family Guy, which is a concept I have a hard time rationalizing. Because there are times where Family Guy has gone just as far as South Park in terms of being gross out and just being cruel to their characters.
Don't ask me to watch the episode where Peter attempts to breastfeed Stewie. That's one of the nastiest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, there's some really like the vomit episode, which we've talked about on here before, where they just all start vomiting on each other.
That actually, I love that clip to death.
So good.
It's not vomiting because I hate vomit. But it's the sound and just how violent they are puking. It's like, oh, I'm doing okay.
And it's one of those things where it goes on for too long, and then it keeps on going, and it becomes funny again.
You described a Family Guy sketch I saw recently where Peter gets hit in the nuts with a bag of nickels for like 4 minutes.
Oh,
It's kind of funny. You're like, haha, and then it gets stupid. And then, like, because the nickels are coming in at impossible angles, I think it's like materializing out of thin air, just bashing with the groin. It becomes funny again.
Yep. But I've never understood, like, one is worse than the other, like, maybe quality-wise. Maybe one has more inconsistent writing. Again,
I think
we go down these
Family Guy.
tangents.
Family Guy has become, I think, a parody of itself at this point.
I will say the funniest Family Guy sketch is racist Kermit the Frog.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's back to where you came.
It's back where you came.
I will say the best episode of Family Guy I've seen was also one of the best episodes of The Simpsons I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
And that was the crossover. Because that episode was hysterical.
Yeah.
The Cleveland joke put me on the fucking ground.
Well, it's because they save their good jokes for episodes like that. And then there were fewer episode. They saved all their good jokes for that one, and then they just
Why is that
gave
guy
their
flying
B
with the
material.
blobs in the plane? Like, we let Cleveland fly by himself, and look what happened.
God damn it.
Men in Black reboot.
Yeah, anyways, that sounds good. I don't remember if they hired a director yet.
But I'm on board.
Or no, maybe they did. I'm gonna look that up real quick. But
just get fucking what's his nuts again. Just to have him do it again.
Oh, you mean the guy who directed 9 Lives? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Wait.
Taika Waititi.
Oh no, Taika. I think Taika's busy.
Yes.
He's busy doing a movie where he plays a child's imaginary friend who is Hitler his father.
Oh
Okay.
my
Cool.
God. What did you say?
Completely sold.
There's
100%.
There's a movie about a New Zealand boy whose father is like a real jerk, and his mom dies, so he starts like he has to deal with it. So he starts seeing visions of his father, who is dressed up as Hitler, and Taika's playing the father and Hitler.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I really love Taika Waititi's sense of humor, and I have friends who recently all just are only now discovering What We Do in the Shadows.
Right.
Oh God.
And I'm like, welcome to the light side.
Yeah.
That movie is so fucking funny.
F. Gary Gray, that's who's doing it. F. Gary Gray, director of Fate of the Furious and Straight Outta Compton. So
Okay.
That's interesting.
So the action will be good, and maybe the story will be good. Who knows?
Well, if they have somebody come in and do some punch up for it could be really good.
Or if O'Shea Jackson makes an appearance.
Yeah, there's no writer that I'm seeing.
Is Suge Knight gonna show up?
I mean, I'd be into it.
AKA Thanos.
Suge Knight is never mind.
The Thanos of the real world.
Hunter, that fucking cable meme is hysterical, by the way.
It's just who was the guy in the original Men in Black movies that was in charge? What was the actor's name?
Rip Torn.
Rip Torn. Just get him hammered and have him on set for one day.
Isn't Rip Torn dead?
Okay, so this is a mystery that I don't know the answer to.
Let's find out. This is gonna be a real bummer if you.
I thought he was.
I didn't think he was.
Oh, if you can dodge a car, you can dodge a ball.
He's 87. He's still around.
Yeah, just get him drunk.
His clock's ticking.
Because it was just a couple years ago he had gotten arrested for. I thought it was getting into a drunken fight at a bank.
Dude, he looks like he got into a drunken fight with God.
Well, yeah, I mean that's how you end up being Rip Torn.
He looks like he's just made of like old beef and cigarette smoke.
Yeah, he does.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm seeing from 2010 he pled guilty in a Connecticut bank break-in.
That's probably why he's not in MIB 3. Probably.
That probably has some bearing. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. I would like it if he did come back.
Yes.
You can dodge a wrench. You can dodge a ball. Dodgeball is one of my favorite movies from growing up. So he's fantastic in that movie.
What does he say in Men in Black 1 where he's like, "We are hosting a fucking intergalactic cookout.
We are hosting an intergalactic kegger." That's what Will Smith is like. We are hosting an intergalactic kegger. Zed.
Yeah. Prosecutors say actor Rip Torn has pled guilty to charges stemming from allegations he broke into a Connecticut bank while drunk and armed.
That is a wonderful story. That almost out Nick Nolte's Nick Nolte.
I would like it if him and Dennis Quaid's brother went on the run together. That would be an interesting thing. Randy Quaid.
Dennis Quaid is their getaway driver.
Yes.
Yeah, God damn it, that would be so great.
I am going to start writing this tonight.
The Hollywood Star Killers.
I've never mentioned it before, but Pandorum's a good movie that also has Dennis Quaid.
God damn it.
If you're trying to reach out to Allan, he's not going to listen to it.
No. No, when he hears your voice, his head will project into another universe, as we discovered in the chat.
Actually, to go back to South Park, remember when Mackie gets high and his head floats off like a balloon?
Yes.
I think that's what happened to Allan when I speak to him.
Your voice just triggers this automatic reaction from him.
He's like, what?
Huh?
Huh?
Sorry, friend, I was miles away.
I traveled to the fourth world. Yeah, so they do have a director, they have the cast. All they need is like a good writer. Like not even a great writer, a good writer to sign on. And I'm excited about this. Yeah.
We love that shit.
Yeah.
I mean they could do that. That's in the wheelhouse.
It'd be an original angle to go with actually instead of doing aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
They fight like demons and shit too, but they'll never do that. So.
No, because that's If they left the door open in the originals, maybe, but I don't know about that.
I think Sony's too
Sony's
too nervous after Ghostbusters to do that.
Good point.
I do wonder if they'll keep that ending thing that they always did. That was always kind of interesting, where
with them implying that there was a next stage up.
Right, like this multi-universe stuff that at the end of the first movie, just as like a 4-year-old, it was way above my head. It was just all these concepts that they put into the end of a really weird science fiction movie. So yeah, that'd be something. If they do that again, that'd be good. I'd like that.
Why? Why do you always have to mention how young you were? God damn it. God damn it all to hell.
Hey, it makes you feel better. I wasn't intentionally mentioning how young I was this time. It just came up.
Oh, but subliminally, you know you're doing it. You know you're doing it.
It's not like I was getting my first race car, and it's the first memory I have of leaving out cookies for Santa or anything. Yeah.
So, Shazam?
Yeah, this is a story.
It's not much of a story, but it feels like Warner Brothers reeling back real hard, and it's probably going to bite them in the ass again.
It's the kind of story.
To watch at this point.
Yeah, it's the kind of story that it kind of gives me hope for Warner Brothers overall.
Here's the thing: when I heard Shazam was going to be a family film, my brain immediately went to that video someone shared of the old black and white Shazam TV show, where he's just fucking killing people left and right in the most hilarious ways.
Well, if I remember correctly, there was it might not have been Sid and Marty Krofft Shazam show, but it was of the same level of quality as Sid and Marty Krofft from the 70s, and it was real bad. I just love
the fact that like all of his fighting techniques involve jumping off the screen, landing in the next shot, and then lifting someone up, and then disposing with them horribly.
Oh, so you're confirming that the first season of Jessica Jones learned all of its tricks from that?
God damn it.
Or when Shazam takes a mounted machine gun and blows a bunch of people away. That's my favorite part of that video.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm into that. I don't know.
The costume they've shown looks so genuine that it's almost like, did you go too far off the deep end here?
I mean, I've said this before. It looks like a CW costume with more money, which is not a bad thing at all.
No.
Well, and am I incorrect in thinking that who's the actor playing the adult version or actual Shazam?
Zachary Levi.
I don't believe that he's actually that large underneath the costume.
No, I believe he is padded the fuck up.
Yeah, it's padded.
And that's partially what I'm kind of like, I don't know when I see it. Because, I mean, when you see, like, the characters in the Marvel films, like, they're not padding their physiques at all. Like, the costumes work for what they are, which, mind you, they have a personal trainer. Yeah, they have a personal trainer, like, every day of their lives for, like, a year. So I understand why they're in the shape they're in. But I don't know.
I don't know. The worst possible situation is that this movie is Star Kid, another classic from when I was growing up. That's the worst situation that I can see for this.
Or what is another wannabe superhero film? But Warriors of Virtue.
Yeah, is that the one with the bunny rabbits? Or the kangaroos?
They're ninja kangaroos.
The kangaroos that I told everybody about in the Haro chat.
Because somebody's response time to Ninja Turtles was way too late.
Yeah.
And Yusaki Yojimbo.
Yeah.
Yusaki Yojimbo's good though.
No, I'm just saying like that train of animal-based things.
Yeah, animal. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, anthropomorphic animals doing martial arts. Yeah, someone was very late on that.
I mean, like, we've all said enough that Warner Brothers is not doing a lot to instill confidence in us, which sucks, because I want a good Shazam movie. I kind of like the idea of Shazam. Now, the bigger question is, does the fucking Rock show up as Black Adam?
Yeah, I think that's a fair question, but, so, I don't know if them saying this is a family movie is necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's not.
Everything I know about Shazam tells me that family movie might be the perfect angle to go with.
I was Harry Potter's a family movie series, and those movies get dark as fuck.
Right. Yeah, and they do it gradually.
Exactly.
Which is important, and I can see that working.
Earlier today, I was thinking about Warner Brothers and how monumentally they fucked up, because doesn't Legendary and Warner Brothers share the same, like, the rights to the MonsterVerse, like?
No, So, my understanding is that Legendary actually. No, they have a deal from Toho that gives them the rights to Godzilla. Universal owns the rights to King Kong.
Yeah, I was thinking today about how they there's like maybe, let's say, three 3 cinematic universes of note.
Right.
And like, it's funny how like one of them, like most people like kind of ignore like the MonsterVerse, and then the MCU, which is the hugest thing possible, and then WPB is like on the totem pole.
Yeah.
There's like other examples they could follow, and they refuse. Like,
well, and the thing is, like, their TV universe works so much better than their fucking movie universe.
Yeah.
I don't know why the two sides aren't communicating.
It's because it's that story that Kevin Smith told 10 years ago about how they don't care about the comic book side at all.
No. Yeah, that's you. What is it? John Peters is the only name to think of when talking about that, because he's the one who was like, I don't want to see him save anybody. I don't want to see him in that suit either. It's too faggy.
Well, I think that was the higher up execs, because he was an executive producer, but he wasn't part of WB. He wasn't one of the studio heads or whatever.
In regards to what we talked about today on Movie Dumpster, like, because it was a video game movie, I think the industry at that time was still like comic book movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They were very against it, and they were like, "Well, that's a comic book person, Kevin. That's not a movie person. A writer is a writer. That's the silly attitude of that. Like the fact that for years, Brian Michael Bendis was part of the Marvel Story Group, which disbanded at some point. But he was a part of it. He was one of the people who made decisions about where those movies were going and what direction they went in, was partially probably because of things that he said for a little while. And that shows like a tremendous amount of respect for the comic book people at Marvel. Compared to DC, which apparently Jeff Johns was in charge, but was he really?
No.
Not anymore.
He was. I think they just touted out his name because they saw how well Marvel had been doing with saying like, oh well, Brian Michael Bendis and this writer involved in this comic world.
And then we've talked about before, like the headlines that follow. It's like Jeff Johns being brought in to steer the ship of the DCEU. Yep. And then it was like, no, a bunch of executives are going to do it now. And they're like, no, Zack Snyder's going to do it now. And they're like, Zack Snyder's gone, so now a bunch of executives are doing it now. Yeah. And they had the one guy who was like, he's our one guy. He's be the only cook in the kitchen. And then the next headline was him saying, I think there's too many producers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like,
and him saying that one man can't do this.
Yeah, yeah. And then it's like, we're bringing in the guy who did It and The Conjuring. Oh, so you're gonna bring in the guy, but you're not gonna understand what made those things good. The Conjuring is good because it's James Wan doing whatever the fuck James Wan wants to do. That's why it's good. Mm-hmm. It's James Wan being James Wan. It is good because Andy Muschietti clearly knew the source material very well, and he just adapted what was there. He took out little things like the children having a gangbang, but other than that, he respected the source material enough to not mess with it too much, except for in the places where it made sense.
In regards to James Wan, I can't believe that we're here from Saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Death Wish, or not Death Wish, Death.
No.
Death Sentence.
Death Sentence. Yeah.
Fucking James Wan has a little universe going. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many examples around them, and they just refuse to do anything. Like,
yeah.
Well, I mean, don't do stupid things like hand off your ensemble film to a trailer editing company and have them butcher it.
Right. Or just make the movie. Like, I've said it before, I was all in on the all David Ayer version of Suicide Squad. I was all in. Yeah. Fury is one of my favorite movies. It's a movie that I didn't like at first.
You mean to tell me that a guy who makes movies about, like, serious movies about crime and, like, police and corrupt police officers would make a good movie about a bunch of villains? You jest.
Yeah. It's real ridiculous that I would ever think that. Like, there's no reason that his cut wouldn't have at least been interesting. Like,
it's the same reason I want to see the Zack Snyder cut, because the Zack Snyder cut sounds like it actually resolves things that the movie set up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if the movie's still subpar, I still want to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's, I mean, just continually hearing like, well, there's this cut of this movie and this cut of this movie. That's inherently what's wrong with Warner Brothers. Is that
far
the director / writer as an author of the ship. That's a really weird mixed metaphor. is not being given that right.
Yeah.
And they're waiting until after the fact to be like, oh, well, this is what it could have been. But, it's too late now. Buy the Blu-ray. Buy the Blu-ray, please.
But here's the thing, again, this sounds like they're doing something different.
Because, BVS had a really good extended edition.
Yes, it did.
The Suicide Squad came in on DVD, and Warner Bros. is like, no, fuck these deleted scenes. We're not putting them back in.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I'm glad they didn't, because those Joker scenes are horrendous.
No, those scenes are in the movie.
I still haven't seen it yet.
There's a 10-minute extended cut. So those scenes are in the actual extended cut.
Oh,
of
I didn't
Suicide
know that.
Squad.
I thought the extended cut was kind of minuscule.
No, it's only 10 minutes. That's the thing. It's 10 minutes on top of the actual movie, which is like an hour and a half.
I think there's more footage.
Okay.
I think there's more footage. There
probably.
Has to be.
Well, no, there's probably an entire movie. Like, in a closet next to the closet that we've talked about before, which is just papers. In that closet is all the footage that they haven't used, or that they've just shelved. And there's an entire version of the Suicide Squad movie that is David Ayer's version of the movie.
I bet it's okay. Like, I think it's fun.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I'm really like the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, because one, I want to see a tonally consistent movie, and two, the fucking deleted Superman scene gave him an arc.
Yeah.
It was character development, and they fucking chopped it out.
Yeah, that movie is. I kind of wish we had waited to do a review on that one in a weird way, giving it some time, because my opinion is definitely soured.
You had no way of knowing at the time, though.
No,
that's the thing.
No, that's the thing. It was a movie where there's a glamour around it. And I feel like a lot of these DC movies have had a glamour around them. Suicide Squad definitely did. It was, when I first saw it, I was like, that was fun. And then the more I thought about it, the more I disliked it.
There are things about it I still like as much as I did the first time I saw them, but there's things about it I find to be unforgivable.
Yep. There are parts of that movie that are just like, wow, that actually happened. That was actually put on screen. And then there are moments like Killer Croc getting down on all fours, and I'm like, that's delightful for some reason.
My favorite scene still is Deadshot jumping on top of that car and just fucking destroying everything.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's real good.
I was like, there's your movie right there. Make a solo movie.
But anyway, Shazam. Shazam sounds fun. I don't know. Like, it sounds like a good idea.
Why not?
It could be. I don't know. I worry about how Warner Brothers has handled everything so far. For them to be saying like, oh no, it's going to be a family movie. It's definitely going to be a family movie. They're going to swing so hard in the other direction that it's going to fuck up that.
So here's the thing: if they were saying the same thing about Aquaman, I would agree. But they're not.
Yeah.
They're saying Aquaman is an Indiana Jones style adventure movie with some horror elements once they get into like the Marianas Trench and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Gimme
that.
They're not saying. God damn it! They're not saying Aquaman's going to be a family movie and Shazam is also going to be a family movie. They're not saying the entire universe is going to be family movies.
No, and
considering
I'm not saying that.
One of the last times I saw Shazam, he was getting his brain melted by Superman. So I think I'll take the family movie approach.
And I'm just saying, like, if they were saying their overall approach, I would agree with you 100% that they are overswinging the wrong way. To me, it sounds more like they're taking the character, they're looking at what that character is capable of in the most obvious ways, not in the least obvious ways, and they're saying that's where that character should be. As much as I would love it if they did Miracle Man, they're never going to do that.
Oh, God. Well, and that's a Marvel property anyways.
But you know what I mean.
Well,
the Morrison, or is it Morrison?
No,
Morrison
Alan Moore.
The Alan Moore Miracle Man, where he's like, he's blowing up people's heads.
Been summoned.
Which, as we all know, I enjoy people having their heads blown up.
Yes. Well, my big thing is that it's not that
all time.
It's not that I think they're saying like, oh no, we're going to go the entire universe that way. It's just they've tried to course correct films multiple times individually, and every time they fucked that up.
No, I completely agree with that. I completely agree that that's a problem.
What should lead me to believe that them saying, well, no, we're going to go a different direction with this movie, that it's actually going to work? Like, inherently, they don't understand what they're doing with their comic properties.
Well, because early on, here's the thing. Early on, they never said that this movie was not going to be a family movie. That's the other thing.
I get that.
They never said that David, whatever his last name is, David what's-his-face, director of Lights Out, they never said that he was going to do the Lights Out version of Shazam. They never said that it was going to be a horror movie or anything like that. They said this is going to be a light, fun family movie that is different from the rest of the DCEU. They've been saying that for years. Since they first announced the character, they've been saying that. So this doesn't feel like course correction. It feels like they're doing what they've been saying. But I completely see that other side. Totally. If
it does well, I think they'll definitely think about doing more like this. But I don't think everything will be like this.
No, and like I said, that's not my concern. I feel like with how much negative press they've gotten over the choices they made for their 3 big DC releases so far, I kind of wonder if they're going to overcompensate with this one. I'm not basing this on anything I know or I've read. I'm just basing this on what I've seen and how they try and do things. So
that's a fair concern. That's totally a fair concern. I don't know if I don't see the validity, but also like Warner Brothers is bad at family movies. That is something I will give you. Like. The last family movie that they did that was worth anybody's time, I can't even name it, other than the Harry Potter stuff. And even then, like,
oh, there you go.
I go back and I watch Philosopher's Stone, and I'm like, what happened here? Why did this get made?
Well, that was because of the director doing. Who was? I'm trying to remember his
name. Columbus or whatever.
Yeah,
but like, Looney Tunes Back in Action or. Space Jam. One of the worst films I've ever seen.
Okay, I'm quitting this podcast.
Well, there's speaking of Harry Potter, there's a particular scene in Order of the Phoenix. Connor, you might be able to help me out with this. I can't remember exactly what happens. There's something with Dumbledore getting very angry.
Are you talking about the Goblet of Fire?
No, that's Goblet of Fire. The best Harry Potter movie.
Goblet of Fire. Damn it. Well, no, that's Order of the Phoenix. Or not Order of the Phoenix, right. Goblet of Fire. It is Goblet of Fire. Yep.
You put your name in the... You put your name... Did you put your name in the goblet? In the fire?
You said calmly.
Yeah. Like... yeah. No, but like, they're not good at family movies.
I still like the idea of Albus Dumbledore being like Harry Potter's personal boogeyman who pops up in and out of like Hogwarts, like, Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
Harry, what are you afraid of, Ginny? He's still around. He's still here.
Everywhere.
Harry Potter. Anyways, yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this, really, actually. Like, I want to believe in Warner Brothers. I want to believe in DC. But I think it's totally legitimate to be like, they've done nothing to earn our trust or respect whatsoever. All right.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on Shazam, I guess? Because I don't have any.
Something I had added to the chat, I don't know if you saw it, about Moonknight. That might be worth mentioning.
Yeah. The Daredevil showrunner.
Yep.
Give me now.
Which one? Which one said this? Okay, so it's Stephen DeKnight who's doing press for Pacific Rim, and so this isn't surprising to me.
Give me.
I'll say this: I was telling these guys about Pacific Rim, and I might post what I was talking about as like an extra or something. Who knows? But I'll say that Pacific Rim Uprising is very good. If you're worried about whether you should see it or not, if you're on the fence, go see it. It's a fun movie, and if Stephen DeKnight wants to work with Netflix again on another show, I'm in.
Yes.
The only problem is, like, Daredevil Daredevil had a really weird production, I guess. The first season is a very messy story that we haven't really covered on here because we haven't ever had the time. But it started under Drew Goddard. I think he wrote Spider-Man. He was gonna direct the Sinister Six.
He also directed Cabin in the Woods for some perspective for people.
Yes.
The movie that was never gonna happen.
Well, now it's not gonna happen, but when it was gonna happen,
it's officially never gonna happen.
But yeah, Drew Goddard left Daredevil to work on that, and then Stephen S. Knight came in, and then he left Daredevil for some reason. I assume to work on something else. It might have been because I don't know if he was working on Spartacus still, because that's his baby. And then I believe, they never said who took over, but I believe the writers of season 2 took over for the last 2 episodes, and that's why. That's why the strongest episodes towards the end are their episodes.
Hell yeah. Listen. About this Moonknight show. Just give it to me. I don't care.
I know, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
I want it.
God damn it.
Because Stephen Knight, he says in interviews like, "I love Netflix," but we don't know what happened behind the scenes that led to him departing Daredevil early. That makes this kind of unlikely. We have no idea what happened at all. So, yeah. I don't know. But Hunter, I know you're all in on the Moonknight thing, but I don't think
give me.
I don't, and it might be just ignorance towards the character. But I don't know if he will ever get adapted. Not in any way that we'll expect.
I think Legion's success kind of like makes me think maybe someday.
Maybe.
I'm never say never. Is all I'll say, but I won't hold out hope for it. I don't expect it to happen.
I think Disney is gonna hold out for a long time if it does happen.
Yeah,
because he's a fucking insane character who is very adult. So we'll see.
Well, and he's also literally insane. So
yes,
yeah, I'd be interested. I will say this. We've talked about Disney's streaming service that they're planning to launch, and how apparently the Netflix Marvel shows, they're going to have to stick on there for a little while, possibly. And I could see them saying, well, until then, let's do some shows on here. And I've also said before that Touchstone is their mature line of movies. It's where
they should launch Marvel Max. That's
or just have I've said before, a Castle Rock section, or not Castle Rock, Touchstone section. There was a Castle Rock studio. That's why I thought of that. But no, the Touchstone section. This is the Touchstone section. This is where your kids can't go into without a password.
Adult supervision.
Well, didn't they kind of try this with Punisher Warzone because it had a Marvel Knights logo on it?
Yes, but I believe that was a Sony production.
And Marvel Knights is still not quite on the same level as Max storylines.
Yeah.
Ooh, definitely not.
But they could do a Castle Rock section and just say, this is not for you kids, not without your parents' help. And that's where the show is. And it's behind the castle, or the Touchstone wall. I keep on saying Castle Rock.
The dragon.
But yeah, that's... And I could see them putting a Moon Knight show there, in their adult-only section. Possibly. I could definitely see that. On the list of things where they kind of prepare themselves for when they do get those Netflix shows back, because I do believe that's a thing where contracts expire and maybe they'll get them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, damn. Marvel waiting for contracts to expire? Damn. That's not happened.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested, I guess. Do we want to move on to the extras? Did everybody see the trailers that I put in?
I only saw the Soldado one. That's it.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch the Margot Robbie one.
I just put it.
It's great.
It's not a big trailer. There's not a lot of information. You can just watch it while we talk. But it's.
I don't like the name though.
Of which one? Soldado?
Yeah, Day of the Soldado.
They keep on messing with the title. Just call it Soldado. And
yeah, it's fine.
like, yeah. But yeah, it looks good. Like the trailer is actually giving me more anticipation for it. It looks like they're going for like a balls out action movie. So
Sicario is the most Metal Gear movie we'll ever get. Like,
yeah,
it's
definitely
insane.
I mean, if there's anybody out there who thinks we're getting a Metal Gear movie, they're out of their mind. So.
Oh yeah, no.
Well, if you ask the director of Kong Skull Island, we are.
I will believe it when I see it, and I will also believe it when I see it when it's good and coherent.
I mean, I watch the King Kong versus Giant Skullcrawler fight like once a month.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I still don't want to see that movie. So
well, and the director has said that Tom Hiddleston running with that gas mask on, like with a fucking machete, like slicing those like pterodactyl birds or whatever. He has said that is what his Metal Gear movie would look like. Like that's the aesthetic that he would go for in his Metal Gear movie. I'm out. Sorry, man.
Hmm.
And he has said that scene is inspired by, I believe he said Psycho Mantis. That's what that scene is inspired by.
Did he never play the games?
No, he's played all of the games. That's
what?
If you ask him.
Well, I'm going to say this. What I've learned from Movie Dumpster, just because someone is a fan of something doesn't mean they're going to make something good. Because director Courtney Solomon loves Dungeons and Dragons.
Loves them.
But you wouldn't know that if you watched the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
Yep.
It's just, like, to this day, I think about how in an alternate universe, Dungeons and Dragons is the biggest movie of all time.
Also, I'm going to backpedal on something. I had said that Dungeons and Dragons was the worst movie we had ever watched. I take that back. House of the Dead is the worst thing we have watched so far.
Are you going to throw that into
film? What do you expect?
Are you going to throw that into a singularity also?
I want to. We've already designated that because we put all the movies in a metaphorical dumpster at the end of the show. Uwe Boll gets his own dumpster now. It's the Boll dumpster. It's just full of trash, and that trash is all of his movies.
Because it would poison the other dumpster. It would.
Yes.
Yeah.
It would cross-contaminate and create a monster that no one could stop.
But
it would basically make the Thing from Akira.
God damn it.
God damn it. If I could unwatch the Rampage movies, I would.
Ooh.
They're bad.
You're the only person I know who's seen them, so.
They're very bad.
Well, at least you didn't watch the commentary of them. Fucking goddamn
Allan.
I was so pissed when he said that. But no, like, anyways, Soldado, the Soldado trailers. I'm into it.
Yeah.
I was like, I really liked the first movie. I'm okay with them changing genres a little bit for this one because they're just going all out with the action.
Yep.
Although I sincerely hope this is it then for that series. Like, I hope it doesn't start to be like.
I don't think they're gonna make more.
I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like it would kind of wear things out if they do, unless there's a smart direction to go with it. But I don't see what that would be necessarily, other than learning Benicio's backstory, which is not something that I want. I do not want to learn more than I already do. Like, I don't want to see him in Colombia as a young lawyer. I don't want them to recast him or force him to act 20 years younger than he is. Either of those situations are a bad idea because I've seen both of them before. Like, we've all heard of the fact that there is a Carlito's Way 2, and none of us have ever seen it for good reason.
What?
There's a Carlito's Way 2.
Okay, what?
In which you see young Carlito. And if you haven't seen Carlito's Way...
See it. It's good.
Yeah, but when you watch it, you understand why they had to do a prequel.
No, what? No. No, you don't. You don't need a prequel. What are you talking about?
No, that's what Carlito's Way 2 is. It's a prequel.
I get that, but no.
It's a prequel of him in the 70s as a young man coming up as a gangster.
My God. Like,
oh my God, why?
Oh, you mean kind of... Okay, never mind. There's no... Just no.
And we've also seen the other way, which is like... Isn't there a movie where Nick Cage plays the same character but 10 years younger? Or something like that? Or something...
You mean every Nick Cage movie?
No, well, there's a movie where it's a sequel and he's playing younger than he was before. I can't remember what I'm thinking of.
Is it National Treasure?
It might be not. No, it's not National Treasure.
2 is like a year after the first one.
I can't remember what it is, but there's a movie where it's like 10 years later, and it's supposed to be a prequel.
I'm the world's leading expert on the National Treasure timeline.
Oh, wait a minute, hang on. Are you talking about It Man? Because I know that has a kind of a questionable prequel.
That might be it. I don't know. I'm thinking of something that's...
Maybe it's Season of the Witch 2. I don't know.
Maybe.
Oh my god.
I don't think that exists.
I hope it doesn't.
The fissures in the earth have not opened up hell to release it upon us yet. So
Season of the Witch.
Maybe I'm thinking of X-Men, actually. I might be thinking of Hugh Jackman playing younger. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I'm thinking of something. There's some movie where it was like straight to DVD. So that's why I probably don't know it. But yeah, anyways, that's beside the point. Seeing any movie where like an actor is trying to play younger in a prequel is just silly, and it doesn't.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's like if they tried to bring back not Father Karras in The Exorcist, but if they tried to have the original actor in The Exorcist in those Exorcist prequels, those two Exorcist prequels.
No.
They did?
You mean the both that exist?
The both
in
that
the
exist.
Same timeline.
Apparently, the third one's actually really good.
Well, no. See, there's a third cut that uses bits of both movies.
Yeah.
Oh, you're fucking kidding me.
Are you
really?
God.
Yeah. But I don't know. Soldado looks good. That's all I have to say on it, really.
I just watched a terminal teaser. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a.
I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'm into it.
Yeah.
I mean, is it supposed to be a very like obtuse Alice in Wonderland storyline that's trying to go gritty?
Maybe
or...
it's a. I know it's a teaser, so I think her character is probably very Red Queen inspired. I think it's.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is that she is a femme fatale in a kind of weird other world kind of thing, and I think Simon Pegg is a detective. I can't really remember.
Gold.
I'm wondering if he's going to have a surname of Rabbit potentially.
Possibly. But yeah, like it sounds interesting. So follows the twisting tale of two assassins played by Dexter Fletcher and Max Irons on a dangerous mission for a mysterious employer, and their journey brings them across a number of colorful characters, including an enigmatic janitor and a mysterious femme fatale named Annie, played by Robbie. So yeah, that's a yeah, it'll be something interesting. That's just a trailer. It looked cool, kind of, as it seems to have sort of a genre edge to it, so that's why I put it in there. But yeah, it could be interesting. Could be nothing.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's it. That's all the stories I had, unless somebody had something that we forgot. And
I don't have anything, and like, there's not much to say about CW this week. Like, the two shows that were on were good, and as usual, we don't have much to say about the shows when they're good.
Yeah. We'll have a review or something tomorrow, probably. We might just skip it though. Who knows?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, it might be better to skip it because
coming to talk about.
Yeah, it's half an hour essentially. It would just be. Yeah, that was good. Hey, remember that part? Yeah, I like that. Yeah, hey, that part was okay.
Then we talk about South Park for an hour.
I do kind of want to talk about Nega Sarah, which would be interesting, but.
Oh, you mean Livewire with a budget?
Yeah.
I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing how much that look comes off when like there's competent people behind it.
Yeah. Wow. It's almost like they put effort into it.
Yeah.
We have fun here. That's it for your After Dark, I guess. That's all. Plugs now, I guess. I don't know where to go.
That's it. Hey, Connor here. Movie Dumpsters rolling along. We just recorded House of the Dead today. We had 2 episodes launched this week. One was Dungeons and Dragons, and the other was the fucking Hug-a-Bunch movie, which is unintentional terror for 48 long minutes.
I heard you describe this, and it sounds like a nightmare.
It is. It's freaky and off-putting and strange, and it has a questionable opinion on old people, and their place in the world, and whether or not they should just go be locked up in a retirement home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a strange movie. Tie-ins are very weird.
A Haro on most of the places. Arlen Haro on Vero, yeah. Lost Haro podcast every week. Me and Eric Sayour, we reviewed Rocky 1 through 4. So go listen to that. Yeah.
Rocky 5.
Rocky 1.
Oh, we
Rocky
recorded that
2.
this week. We did not have nice things to say about Rocky 5. So tune into that next week.
Unsurprisingly.
I have actually never seen Rocky 5. No,
Oh,
plan to.
Same.
Oh,
It's a very bad movie.
oh, you need to though. You need to.
Oh, but my bad movie quota is
I mean,
bursting at this
Rocky
point.
You should bring it on the show. You should.
Oh.
Because it's so bad. It's so bad. Yeah.
I
No,
was really hoping he'd fight an alien in Rocky 5, but
but a man does yell. I think a man does yell "street fight," which is just.
Oh my god.
hell yeah,
Yuck.
that's my boy.
But yeah,
Don't call me on anything.
Just leave Hunter alone.
Yeah, leave me alone.
Leave me to my devices. I'm Eric Fedorchak. You can find me on Instagram, Eric_Fedor, dogs, food, comics, things like that. And as of last weekend, the gem on my hand started glowing, so I've been on the run. So I might not be available in the next few weeks because the hunters will be trying to find me to take care of me.
That's right, I'm coming for you.
Oh.
I'm glad at least somebody got that.
You should not listen to this. It will be a white elephant in your room. It will be.
Right.
Anything else?
No.
That's it.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Fuck Brexit.
Fuck X-Men Apocalypse.
R.I.P. Timothy Treadwell. Bye.
Bye.
That's it, guys. We saved the animals.